Anna, hey, oh.
On the outskirts of Alamosa, Colorado, weeds grow among humble tombstones.
Jose Antonio Gomez.
And his wife is Abrana.
Here, Juliana Aragon Fatula shares a recently revealed family secret. Her great-grandfather, as a boy, was purchased.
My grandmother didn't tell me any of this. My mother didn't tell me any of this.
This 1865 list of Indian captives proves it. Jose Antonio Gomez, age 4, Navajo, a list of dozens in Conejos County.
But finding out that my great-grandfather was a slave, I mean, the word purchased is like cattle or something. And that he was not the only one.
The man behind the list, Lafayette Head, a U.S. Indian agent. Head was an ambassador among Native Americans. He would also become Colorado's first lieutenant governor despite owning and selling child slaves like Jose Gomez.
I don't know how he was treated, if he was treated as a family member or if he was treated as a slave.
Juliana is among a growing group of people experiencing a profound shift in personal identity with the unexpected truth. People who now know they descend from Native Americans held as slaves.
My dad said we were Mexicans, Mexican Americans. My aunt said, oh no, we're Hispanic, we're Spanish.
You know, we're telling these stories because I think it not only troubles our sense of identity, but it also reveals the resilience and the complexity of how we think about identity.
Thanks to a $1.5 million grant, Dr. Esteban Rael Galvez built a team of historians. They are uncovering thousands of stories of indigenous slaves whose names were intentionally forgotten over generations.
There's been stigma in terms of what it means to be a descendant of an enslaved person. That's certainly true.
The project is called Native Bound Unbound. A searchable public catalog is the goal.
I mean, this village of San Luis had hundreds.
In San Luis, the historic home owned by town founder Dario Gallegos still stands. He also owned indigenous slaves. A history not celebrated in this corner of what used to be the New Mexico territory. Slavery was so prevalent in the region, researchers estimate indigenous servants made up to 1/3 of the population in the late 18th century.
There's not a single Nuevo Mexicano, and by that I mean of this entire region in Colorado as well, who cannot trace their ancestry back to at least one individual who was enslaved and indigenous.
The team searches for key words, slavery euphemisms in baptismal and census records. Words like sorviente, genízaro, and criada, which means someone reared as a maid or servant.
She was just taken from somewhere and sold and spent her whole life in the San Luis Valley.
Weston Archuleta's great-great-great-grandmother, Soledad, was listed as criada when baptized at age 6.
To find out that way and to find out I had such a personal connection, it was very shocking, especially being told you're Spanish your whole life. You know, you're Spanish. Having that drilled into you and then having that just obliterated it's almost freeing, though.
There's also stigma in being indigenous, right? In that era. And we are now seeing people who are reclaiming that.
A dark history buried within dirt and documents, name by name of the long dead, but who give meaning to life today.
I can imagine that he'd been colonized into speaking Spanish and Christianized and baptized and had lost his native ways.
They were separated, they were captured, they were placed in a subservient role within communities. And I actually want people to recognize the beauty and the complexity from where they come from, because it's actually a powerful story.
Anna, hey, oh. I'm singing it to Mother Earth. I'm just praising the fact that I survived because my ancestors survived. If they hadn't survived, I wouldn't be here. Anna, hey, oh.
If you have any ancestry connected to New Mexico and southern Colorado, there's a chance you may have this history in your family. We put a list of keywords online that you can use to research your own family tree on sites like Family Search and Ancestry. Native Bound Unbound expects to launch a full website sometime in 2024. Yeah.
It's interesting to see this kind of history unfold in real time because for a lot of, enslaved African Americans in particular, it's impossible to track your genealogy and your ancestry, especially before the 1870 census. There's nothing.
There's nothing. One thing that the Spanish did do is keep a phenomenal amount of records, and they used words that were euphemisms to hide what was illegal, what was technically illegal since the 1500s.
That's incredible.
So we've touched upon a speck on top of the iceberg of this. So we'll see what happens in the coming years with this project.
That's really interesting. The fact they're proactively reaching out to people is something. That's interesting. All right, Jeremy, thank you.
Sure.